Welcome to the 22nd video in our series about Unix tools. In this video, I will show you more about the Nano text editor. I already discussed the things shown here, Alt-P, Alt-N, Alt-C, which toggle different displays. Two of those we could do from the command line with -L and -C. I talked about forward and backward search with Control F and Control B, and jumping to a position in the file with Control/. In this video, I'm going to talk about some more command line switches, and I'm also going to talk about find and replace. Find and replace is really useful if you change the name of a subroutine, for instance, and you need to change it everywhere in the file. Okay, let's exit this and let's go back to one of the files we were editing. If you remember, we had a crash in ex2.py that looks like this. It's because it was expecting a command line. If you give an argument, it will work. If you give too many command line arguments, it only knows the first one. This is a bug in this program. So, what about ex3? ex3 fixes the problem. It can do hi mom, hi dad, hi sister. But if you don't give any arguments, it even knows that, and it says, hi there, unknown entity. So let's use Nano with some line numbers, and we'll edit that ex3.py. There it is, handles multiple command line arguments. And we have main. Let's say that we'd like to have another function, just for fun. So in Nano, how do you insert some new stuff? Just press enter a few times and then use your arrow keys and we can type something in. So let's say def show the list, and we'll pass in some list, but we don't want to use the word list. We'll say the list. So what would be in there? That says for who in sysargv. Oh man, I'm gonna have to type a lot. Well, if you're like me, you don't like typing a lot, but this video doesn't include cut and paste yet. So be patient and type with me. This should work, but instead of sysargv, we need to change this to the list, and this will go through each element in the list and print hi element. Looks pretty good. So now we can change this code to call our new subroutine, passing in that list. And then we don't need these two lines anymore. So since we haven't learned a better way, we'll just use the backspace key to eliminate them. Okay, we've made our changes in the file. Let's save it, run it. Okay, with no arguments it worked. With one argument it works. And with 3 arguments it works. What if we did star.py? The shell expands star.py to the list of file names, and then that list of file names is sent into ex3, and it's able to use that list and do everything. I'm pretty happy I've got only one real problem, and that is show the list is a really long name. I'd like to change that name to something else. I could go through with the arrow keys and change line 7 and then go down and change line 16, but that's a lot of work. I'd like to use search and replace. So I'm going to use Alt R, and it doesn't do anything. So try Control R. Aha! It says I want to insert a file. Press cancel. That's definitely not what we want. And so we're thinking, well, I've done the R and nothing happened. Time to go to the help, and we need to do a Control F search for replace. And it says Alt R should have worked, but we could use a Control / instead. And so maybe our terminal emulator's got problems. Close the help, and let's try Control /. Aha! Search to replace. So this is saying, tell me the thing that you want to find. Show the list. And then it says, what do you want to use instead of show the list? And I'm going to use STL because that's a lot easier to type. And it's show the list. And I press enter, and it did it. Or did it? Look at the question at the bottom. It says, do you want to replace this instance? And you can say yes or no. Or you can be brave and press A and it'll do them all. I recommend, at least for the first time you do it, say yes, yes, and that's a lot safer. A little more time. If you did A, it would change them all. But if your pattern is part of a longer word, you'll get mistakes. By being able to say yes each time or no, you can make sure you don't have those problems. We've made the changes. Control X. Save it. Run it again. Output is identical. So, wonderful. We've learned how to search and replace. The other thing I wanted to show you were some command line options. So let's say nano -v ex3.py. V says view only. This is for reading something and you want to be careful and not modify it. And you see, when I press some enter or space, I can't. Key is invalid in view mode. I can move around, I can search, but I can't edit anything. And that's wonderful. If you want to look at some code and you want to make sure that no matter what you type, your code doesn't change, the -v is wonderful. And when you exit, it doesn't ask you, do you want to save or not? Because, no, you don't want to save. It's viewing only. The other thing was, if you remember, EX5, we'll use that hex dump again. I forgot to give the file name. This is the one that had tabs in it, I think. Yep, there's one. There's a tab. And here's another one. So this file is full of tabs. And we want to view that file. If we say nano ex5.py, you can see, wow, that has this big jump. And it goes all the way to column 8. And that's because the default tab size is 8. Well, most people today use a default tab size that's smaller. So let's exit. Let's do it, but let's say when you show me a tab, use 4 spaces, not 8. Now it looks much nicer. It looks like all the other programs. But you can still use your Alt-P to see it's using a tab here, not a space. But now the tabs look quite nice, and if you hit tab, you see it jumps 4 spaces by using that -T for command line argument. So let's exit this. We don't want to save it, so I'm going to hit cancel, Control X. No. All right. If you let me do it enough times, I'll finally get it right. At least you know I'm a human and not some AI. They'd be perfect every time. So let's go make sure we did all our goals. I said I was going to show you -T. I did. -V. I did. I said I'd talk about find and replace. And it turns out that the Alt-R didn't work. But we used Control \, and that worked well. So I've updated this. And I'm going to save it. And we've completed this video. I want to thank you for listening, and I hope you'll come back next time when we'll do something that's not grep or nano, I promise.